Mr. Hill, did you want to ask a question?
Yes, thank you. And just to pick up on that point, on page 41 of the reports pack, under a regulation 58, it talks about matters of concern being the lack of inpatient mental health beds and a lack of psychiatric unit spaces. With this tension in mind that you're talking about with the efficiency and safety, is it likely that money can come from that through your management, the extra 30 million, the 300 million cash for that kind of service?
Julian.
Sorry, you were sort of on my sound. You were dropping in and out a bit. Was the question was what sort? It was, could we spend some of the 300 million pounds on
the matter set out on page 41, of inpatient mental health beds and psychiatric decision unit spaces?
Yeah, so obviously the provision of psychiatric beds would normally be that would be a responsibility for the Mental Health Trust, clearly, rather than the new UHB. But the previously foundation trusts were able to spend their accumulated cash balances on new buildings, but in about 2018-19, the Treasury introduced capital controls called capital resource limits, and the amount of capital we can spend now is limited to an annual figure. And for this trust, it's about 38-39 million pounds a year, and that has to cover all of the maintenance and upgrade of our own buildings. It has to cover replacement major medical equipment. It has to cover IT, network equipment, etc., etc. So it's not a lot of money, and obviously, particularly with building and price inflation, it doesn't buy you as much as it used to. So we don't have the freedom anymore to spend the accumulated cash on capital assets, which we used to have back in the day. So the Mental Health Trust, I know, are looking at any more creative off-balance sheet financing solutions to see what they can do to address that, because it is that does translate as a big cost drag to the system, because we have to send a lot of patients out of region to private provision.
Thank you. Any other questions to Julian?
No, sorry, can I just support what Julian's just said, obviously in relation to the Mental Health Trust?
Oh yes, because you're chair of the Mental Health Trust.
Yes. And you know, we are trying to, you know, look at other avenues in terms of income, because obviously it is a real definite concern, particularly in relation to out of area beds. And we're trying to look at different alternative ways of how we can raise funds. And there's some in the pipeline, but obviously I'm not able to discuss them right now, but just wanted to respond to the question. Like, it's more our responsibility rather than this trust.
Now you're also an associate member on this trust. You'll be looking at ways of squirreling resources over.
Definitely.
Thank you. So I've got some words for the assurance from Jackie that she wanted to provide. It really reinforces what Julian was saying, that, you know, on behalf of the committee, she said assurance was provided over the proposed process to submit the annual accounts, and she referred to the surplus and also referred to where that's come from, as Julian has explained. And she also said that they'd had assurance that the plan, whilst a stretch, the financial plan, is achievable, provided all the actions are taken, which is also what Julian's set out here. So with that assurance, is the council, can you receive the report? Thank you. And again, this is a committee where we are looking for volunteers. So, you know, I think Sarah's now sent the note out to you all, but if people want to come and talk to us or Sarah after the meeting, please.